Hello Gemini friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Gemini February 2021 Astrology Must Knows. Welcome if you're watching the YouTube version of this, and also know that there is a podcast syndicated version now through my podcast called Astro Kisses with Annie Botticelli. This month is one of my favorite months of the whole year for Geminis. We've got a lot going on for Geminis in general. You all are at major crossroads, compliments of being in the midst of a Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle that started in the middle of 2020. You might have actually started feeling that even earlier in 2020, like in March or so. And this runs through the beginning of 2022. So your lives are being changed in very big ways. And the more planets you have in Gemini, the more chance for that to actually be activated. And the same goes true for all of the sweet goodies, yummies, kisses this month that the air planets have for you. So, 2 housekeeping notes to make the most of the information I'm about to share. One is that this video is for you regardless of what Gemini placement you have. If you have your moon, your sun, your rising, some people like to even watch for their Venus or Mars placement. If you have those in Gemini, this is part of your bigger picture. Astrology is way more complex than just our sun sign. That's one of the messages that I hope to help educate everyone about. And although if you're just watching for your sun sign, I'm so happy with that. Any awareness that's being brought to this beautiful art and science, I'm excited about and excited to help you with through these videos. But do know that you can run a free birth chart online and you can see if you have more placements in Gemini and what those degrees are. And then some of the more detailed pieces that I give you will have more meaning. Okay, so I just want to coax you along that continuum. And you will want to know this too, especially in this time, because you'll want to know when these eclipses are hitting you exactly. And during the eclipse times, I'll be giving that information. So it just would behoove you to do a little more legwork to try to get more information about your chart. Okay, so now that that is done, the second admin piece is that if you are a Gemini that's towards the end of the sign, so like maybe June 15th through the rest of the sign, I also suggest you watch my Cancer reports because your profile is more complex being in the late degree there, and you'll get information from this video, the Gemini one, and the Cancer one will give you more. Okay, so we've got Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, the Sun, Pallas Athena, the star goddess, Mercury in retrograde, and the new moon all in Aquarius. Aquarius makes a 120-degree angle with your placement, which is the most favorable in all of astrology. This is the type of angle that you can get blessings and not have to do a blessed thing. It's the kind of thing where just stuff just shows up in your lap. Now, if you happen to have done something from the past things are coming back in a big way. Like maybe you signed a thing on a class action lawsuit a while ago and then all of a sudden you get a check in the mail, or maybe you entered a sweepstakes and forgot about it and then all of a sudden it comes back in. Some things that have like a tilt to the past might be part of the segue of the blessings that come at this time, and anything that you're drawn to do to align your energies, things that have a tilt to the past with people you know, ideas from the past, editing things that already were in process, anything like that will get extra kisses at this time. So the Saturn and Jupiter part of this Aquarius equation are long term. So those are going to be given kisses over the long term. And you can actually see what days you're going to get your kisses from Jupiter. Jupiter's the great benevolent. It's got the great benefic. It's just associated with so much luck and expansion. And I did a separate video that you can look at called Jupiter in Aquarius for Gemini. And in that video, I go and drill down to the very days of when your birthday is or the degrees of your placement, when you're going to get those Jupiter kisses. And you'll want to know that, okay? But for right now, know that those of you who are in the early part of June, you're getting your kisses now, okay? Everyone else, you can look to the other video to see. And the same thing with Saturn. Saturn kisses, you all there like towards the end of May. You're getting your kisses from Saturn now. Now, everybody else, every other Gemini, you're going to get your kisses from Venus, from the Sun, from Mercury being in retrograde. And so what does it look like when we have, and Mercury's in Aquarius, so it's going forward, it's going backwards, it's hitting over 3 times. Actually, those of you who are around June 2nd through around June 16th or 17th, you all, maybe even 18th, you all are going to get several kisses from Mercury this month. So it's really exciting. Okay, so let's talk about what a kiss looks like astrologically. when we're talking about Venus, when you get a smooch from Venus, love, romance, money, harmony in your relationships and in any area of your life. Social advancement or something good happening there. Friendships, a friendship coming back in, something like that. Could also be money. Somebody owed you money, they give it back. That's a way that something can come in. Maybe you were due a stimulus check and it didn't come. Maybe it'll come in now from this. Anything like that, where money, especially if it has a tilt to the past, can come in a beautiful way. You could have an idea to just do something for some extra money and it could work out really well. It's not the best time to launch big, like new projects, but something you have a little idea to make a little extra cash, those kind of short-term things can work really well for you right now. For your big launches, your big like once in a lifetime or like major oomph, it needs a lot of backing for a long-term thing, you may want to wait for March and April and the first half of May, because those times are going to be like rambunctiously full of forward-moving energy. This month isn't the month for that because we're covered in Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde means changes to plans. It means things getting cast into uncertainty. It means that the more flexible you are, the more you can be present for unexpected magic. I like to call the retrogrades the times of unexpected magic. And that's part of why I say to schedule light. Part of why I say to schedule light is a lot of your plans aren't going to work out anyway, so don't put too much time into them, right? Or they may change forms, or they may be called into question and happen anyway. But there could be like some shakiness to them. But when you don't schedule too much during this time and then an opportunity comes up, hey, you want to do this, or hey, you can have this, or something like that, then it'll be nice and clear and open for you to say yes to that unexpected magic that comes in. And like I said, because of the retrogrades now, the Mercury being retrograde and it making a nice angle for you, there's even more odds that sweet surprises are going to come in. And that's for everyone in the Gemini placements, but again, like a concentration with extra 3 kisses coming to anyone between around 12 and 27 degrees. So again, that's around June 2nd through, I guess it would be more like even into the 20s, like towards the end of the sign. You all are going to be getting, it depends on when the sun moved in to Cancer in that particular year and got out of Gemini, so that's why I can't give the exact dates, but just know like pretty much all of June born are going to get 3 kisses. Okay, so what does it look like when there's a kiss from the sun? The sun warms things and it brings energy, it brings enthusiasm, it brings resources. It also brings awareness and enlightenment and information. Mercury also brings information, and this is going to be a very information-rich month. And wow, does Gemini like information, right? Mercury is your ruler. So the kinds of things that make you how you are going to be easier at this, or coming up in good ways at this time. Some Mercury retrogrades are doggers. Like when we have a Mercury retrograde in a water sign, that's tough, especially for Geminis, okay? Because that doesn't go well. When we had that happen last year, we had at least 2 that I can remember now, retrogrades in water, and it was not fun for Gemini. But having a retrograde in a fellow air sign is a completely different story. Now, you still may have your breakdowns of your, machines, and issues come up if there was something unresolved that had been swept under the rug, like your car had something going on, whether you knew it or not. Those kind of things could come back up. But again, you have extra protection right now. If you have to buy a new device or a new car or something else, a computer or mechanism related, if you have to do it this month, then you have to do it. Just look at the paperwork carefully. But the energy will be much better in March, April into May, because we're going to be out of the retrograde, which leads to longer term purchases with less issues when you purchase them, okay? All right, so let's see what else I wanted to talk about. Okay, so along the lines of this magical air party, I mentioned the new moon in Aquarius. The new moon in Aquarius also is when we have our Chinese New Year, so this is a very auspicious time. So the days around the 11th or the 12th, where we're going to have that new moon. And again, that's beautiful. New beginnings in any area of life for Geminis, but some featured areas of life have to do with social scenes, internet projects, humanitarian efforts, your place out in the group, finding your tribe, people that speak your language, anything having to do with teamwork or working in cooperation or community-based projects. All new beginnings. And since there's so much energy in Aquarius in the short term and the long term, those particular themes are here to stay for a very, very long time. So you'll see those types of things coming in a big way. Okay, so besides all of these other exciting things, the new moon is also going to be in Aquarius, which is also going to make a sweet angle for Geminis. And anyone in the Gemini spectrum can feel extra kisses from this. And those of you who are near 23 degrees, so this is like June 14th, the days around there will get the closest kiss. But those like even back down through, June 9th through the 14th, and then June 14th through like the 19th, the closer to the 14th, the more intense, you all will get extra special kisses from this. And there's something else that's going on at this time on the same couple of days here around the 11th of the month. Besides the new moon in Aquarius and Chinese New Year, we also have the beautiful Venus and Jupiter connection. This is one of my favorite aspects of the whole year, and it's going to happen at this time besides everything else. And it is going to happen in Aquarius. So again, that means extra blessings for all Geminis. And the closer you are to this like 10 to 12 degrees, so basically like the first couple of days of June, or we'll get the most kisses from that aspect. And then going back to like May 26th or so, and then going up to like June 7th. So between May 25th and June 7th, the closer you are to like the first couple of days of June, you'll get the biggest kisses from Jupiter and Venus, which are the two most benevolent planets in all of the zodiac, and they're coming together. So extra harmony, extra luck, extra blessings there for everyone, especially drilled down to those days and degrees. Okay. Now, there are two areas of life that these Aquarius placements are bringing to life. Okay, so there are planets in the signs. As they move through the signs, they bring that energy to everyone. So you can imagine the planet is a person, and the sign that they're in is their mood or their personality, and I guess it would be more their mood. The personality comes from the planet. The sign they're in is their mood, and the place that they're transiting in your chart is where they're gathering and the type of gathering they're having. Okay, so there's this big gathering of Aquarian energies in the 9th and 10th house for Geminis. 10th house has all to do with work, career. For those of people who are retired or who don't need to work, it's your place out in the world. It's just where spirit wants you to show up doing things. Maybe that's volunteer, or maybe that's just a fun side business as a hobby, or maybe it's helping other people in some way. And this also has to do with father figures and authority figures and becoming an authority figure in your line of work, and also bosses and things like that. So that is very strongly accentuated. So the chance for raises and, things that you had been working on to come through in those areas are high. Now, if you're a Gemini or person with a Gemini placement that's looking for work or needs employment, this month could bring good news. And in the event that you're having a hard time locking down a long-term position, put your efforts towards a temp position or some sort of transitional work, and you have even extra amazing energy to try to find something that is an interim project or something that could evolve into something else. This other house that's aspected for you beautifully at this time has to do with teaching and learning, so school programs, you teaching or bringing courses out, anything having to do with education international, like for your kids or for yourself or working in that field, international connections, learning languages, and even international travel. As I'm recording this, a lot of places are going on complete lockdown again. So this is, it might seem like there's no way that international travel can happen at that time, but it is going to for certain people at that time. Okay, so just kind of look out in case you're one of those people, and if not, you might be getting your passport ready or continuing to work on immigration topics, which is also in this arena of life. Spiritual studies, things involving the church, are also beautifully aspected for Geminis this month. So getting involved more with your religious or spiritual organization, or getting deeper into your work, or making a big discovery. From an enlightenment perspective, that's all shining bright for Geminis this month too. Also, like the energy of optimism, because having this very full ninth house, which all early, middle, and late degree placements will, this is all about the energy of Sagittarius, which is optimism, which is expansion, which is getting your fingers in a lot of pudding pies, which is hope. So, you know, it's a very buoyant type of energy where it lifts you up. Okay, so let's see what else I wanted to talk about. Okay, so there is a crazy aspect this month, and this is a challenge for everybody, and this is a long-term theme, and it's Saturn squaring the planet Uranus. This aspect is so important and long-standing that I made a separate video on it, and for part of the time that this video is relevant, it will actually follow this video if you just let it. If not, you can search for it. I'm trying to have the podcast up by the time I launch this, but if not, it will be up soon. You can find the podcast on Astro Kisses with Annie Botticelli, or you can find the video on YouTube, which is Saturn versus, or Saturn square Uranus must knows. This is going to happen 3 times in 2021. And like I said, we've already been feeling it because they were in close proximity in 2020. So some of the mischief that occurred is part of this long-term transit. It will happen again towards the end of 2022. So you'll want to know what's going on here. And this has to do with the energies of conflict, war, crisis, strife. But I have some helpful, hopeful, positive ways to frame this, which you'll see in the video. But it's important to know that while there's this like Gemini air Aquarius party going on, there are some bigger transits at play that are also happening at the same time that you may see effects from. And a lot of people are going to have a lot of trouble. But for Geminis in particular, the chance to make lemonade out of the lemons that come from that other aspect is much higher. Okay, so we're really, really happy about that. Look out for extra emotion towards the end of the month when we have the full moon in Virgo. That's going to be around, well, the 27th, depending on what time zone you're in, around those days. And the days before it and after it are also going to be very emotional, okay? So I always like to suggest that you leave some space with scheduling around that time, because then you can address anything that comes up. Okay, so let's see. Quick summary, this is one of my favorite months of the whole year for Geminis. The types of things coming from the past have more of a chance of being positive. It's not a time to force things. It is a time to be the spider. You've woven your web at the end of November, all of December, and the first half of January when the planets were like raging forward. And now's the time to make little edits on your web, to do things in the backdrop, to do things closer to home, to kind of just address or closer to your physical body, to address things that come up. It's not a time to force anything. It's not a time to commit to big things. It's not a time to contrive a whole bunch of things that you have to do. It is a time to be flexible. It is a time to wait for unexpected magic and look out for it. And it is a time to deal with things that are coming back up that had been swept under the carpet. That's like, here this thing is again. And Mars in Taurus in your 12th house is definitely going to make you have a lot more thoughts. And if you're, well, I mean, you have Gemini placement, so I already know that you're overthinking. You're an overthinker. It would be very rare. Someone would have to be really into their spiritual practices or have other mitigating planets to not be having Gemini placements and be like on a crazy mental hamster wheel. So we already know that you do that. This is a time where you can start to heal some of that that's not productive, and where you can start to get your grounding through different practices. And this is also a time when your ideas, like you'll be an idea factory of ultimate proportions. You already are, I'm sure. That's another thing that goes along with Gemini. But you're going to have a lot more ideas in this time. And it might be a good idea to write them down because they could be fleeting and you might want to do something with those ideas in the future. And there will be a lot of opportunities this year to implement some important things. So taking those ideas seriously, not necessarily launching them unless they're short term this month, or just like a little interim thing, or just something you're trying on, or something that's experimental and doesn't have high stakes. Those things are fine for this month. The bigger things you want to plan out a little bit and set in motion in March, April, and the first half of May. Okay, so I hope that this is a wonderful, wonderful month for you all. It's definitely got the thumbprint of that potential all over it for you. So if you would like to have even more information about what this month could look like for you and how you can best use the energies, then definitely tap into all of the free resources I have for you. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely sign up for my free email newsletter. Now more than ever, there are perks that come along with that, because besides getting my monthly write-up that shows the sweet and salty dates and what you can expect, what the aspects are, what you can expect from them, and what the month looks like, all in a written version delivered into your inbox 1 month early, plus my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free, I'm working on having software that will allow you to run birth charts for free. Now, I can't make any guarantees that this will be in place by the time you are listening to this, because it is something I'm working on, but it is things like this that are perks that come along with being on my free email newsletter list. So you'll definitely want to do that at anniehelpsyou.com. If you want simple written horoscopes by me that will give you good details but aren't as technical as some of my other resources, then you can go to my beautiful website, cozybysweetstarlight.com. All of the links that I'm giving you are also in the notes underneath the video. Or if you're listening to the podcast version of this, they're in the notes underneath the podcast. Also, if you would like to have to listen rather than view, if you're driving or if you're not wanting to deal with the mid-roll ads that YouTube is pushing against even the creator's will, then you can check out my new podcast, Astro Kisses with Annie Botticelli. The link for that is in the notes underneath the video as well. You can see my free courses at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. That's my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. So besides having free courses, I also have some paid courses. And if you think I go into lots of details with all of the free things I give you, you should see what the paid offerings look like, especially my course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which will equip you to do whatever you'd like to do with astrology, whether it's just help your friends and family and not do it professionally, help your own self-development, or become a practicing astrologer. And I also give information on how to make your astrology practice work financially, because I have been a business coach for a long time too, so that gets worked into the course. Okay, so definitely get my book Planetology if you're a fan of my work and you'd like to go deeper and you'd like to align with the natural rhythms of the universe. That's what this book is about. You can find Planetology anywhere and everywhere. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.